Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another PGR reaction. Today we have Homecoming Voyage as requested by Benjamins, and a lot of people wanted me to get to this one. It was easily the winner on the comment section of last video, so here I am, gonna be listening to this one. Not much else to say as per usual, just gonna jump right into it, and without further ado, let's go! Alright. It's not at all what I thought was going to happen. Those voices are so eerily perfect. I wonder if that's a real choir. It almost doesn't sound like it. Could be. Yeah, it almost sounds artificial, especially on the guys' voices. Intensive shift. That was neat. It didn't resolve, it added more tension and kind of moved it to the side. It's weird, this reminds me of something, but I can't remember what. Maybe it's my days from choir competitions haunting me. Very strange in some weird ways. Like I'm vibing with it, but there's some weird things going on. I wouldn't necessarily call them bad though. Okay, so it was an actual choir. Maybe it was just them touching it up a little bit that made it sound kind of fake. So that wasn't one of the things that was throwing me off. It didn't really help, but sometimes singers are just so good that they can sound fake even when they're not. Like that could have, like I said, just been part of the whole, processing of the song and just adjusting tone if they needed to. But also some singing groups are so good that it sounds almost ethereal. It sounds unreal to a degree. So it could be either way, but that caught me off guard on top of some other things that I'll now get into. So like I was saying, there are certain things about this that threw me off a little bit. Overall, it sounds beautiful. It's very anthemic, and that's probably exactly what it's supposed to be. The approach to it was interesting in a few different ways. Part of it was the use of the choir that they had. That might have also, kind of in hindsight thinking about it, might have been the scale of the voices. They might have had to double up some parts, and when you have the same person singing multiple passes of the same lyrics, the voices tend to kind of warble between themselves, and your own voice kind of can't cancels itself out when you place it on top of itself, especially when you're singing more chorally like this and in a much more like open sound. Your voice tends to kind of mute itself, and that can cause some phase issues in the mix that sounds a little bit wrong or fake in a way. Like, there are a lot of potentials that went wrong with the voices there. It wasn't that they sang poorly, it's really just that it's bugging my ear a little bit, that there was just these slight shifts in the vocals in general that just didn't sound quite real. I feel like if they put less processing on it, it would have been better, or if they had a larger choir body, it would have sounded a little bit more clean and a little bit more natural. But that's just the approach. It doesn't necessarily ruin the song for me in any way. It's just one of those small things that I'm talking about here, that there are many other ones that just feel a little bit bad, because the song itself isn't bad, and the things that happen are so small that individually they really aren't concerns. But when they stack on top of each other, the sound feels weird. It feels like they're trying to do something, and it feels a little disingenuous. And that sucks, because I can tell that there's heart behind this project, the video and everything, just kind of, you know, telling you what the story is and giving you a recap and tugging at your heartstrings for people who have been through the story of these characters and know all of this and are revisiting it. That's a very like emotionally impressive moment. But when you're processing it and producing a song like this, a lot of things can unfortunately go wrong. One of the other small things that was bugging me was that there was a single line of the violin in here, and that I could tell was definitely not a real violin, not that I expect it to be one, but it was following the melody line, and they left that in there. So when you're hearing the vocals, the singers singing the melody, there's this violin that's following it and trailing it. It almost sounds like they're singing a karaoke rendition, and that feels less genuine too. It makes it feel that much more fake and that much more produced, like the singers wouldn't know. Whereas in an anthem, it's supposed to be something that's designed to be anthemic as a concept. So it needs to be able to have that staying power where the vocalist wouldn't need that support and that backup. So I feel like if they removed that violin line in there that was kind of just mimicking the exact same melody, that it would have immediately sounded a little bit more genuine, because as an anthem, you would not need support like that. You would know it. That's the core of an anthem. The other small thing that unfortunately had a pretty big impact in my ear was that the song was constructed very strangely. Not necessarily poorly, just in a way that didn't feel like it was progressing towards anything. I could feel it swelling into the bigger portions of the vocals and bigger portion of the emotional well that's supposed to be pulling you through this song. But unfortunately, with all of these supportive instruments around it, it was it felt tonally confused, where like the drums felt like they came in at weird points. And also, why would you have drums on an anthemic song like this? And that's not to say drums can't exist, but a drum kit specifically feels like a weird choice for something that's supposed to be sung by a choir. That's not too terribly common. Has been done, can be done. I've played the drums for my high school choir actually before. It's there. It is an option, but it feels very strange when the rest of the song has this big, beautiful kind of orchestral vibe, and then there's just a drum kit in there. I think they could have done better having like a more traditional like concert drum line of like snares, large basses, timpani, that sort of thing being the supportive percussion of this, rather than a kit percussion, because that felt a little bit less like there was a scale to it. It felt smaller, and I would usually say that might have supported the smaller vocals, but at the same time, there's definitely just like an argument that my brain is having with like, is this supposed to be a big anthemic song, or is it supposed to be some people standing in a small room with a very small band trying their best to make it sound important? It's a little bit of a thematic confusion for me, and given that I do not have the rose-tinted goggles that would be required to enjoy this song outside of those contexts, I'm finding myself struggling to enjoy a song like this that should, by any and all means, be emotionally moving, even to me, somebody who doesn't know about this world. I did not get that from this, and I've gotten that from other games and other properties that have similar approaches, where they want you to feel that emotional strain and just that reliving of the experiences, and it really felt like it was unfortunately kind of lacking in that. And that's a bummer because I wanted to like this a lot. A lot of people wanted me to get to it, and I see why. But I feel like a lot of that hinges on the player experience in this case. And since I don't have that, I'm kind of at a loss of why should I care? Which is also a bummer because, like I said, I've heard other games do this better. And I don't like doing that. I don't like saying that to PGR stuff. I don't like saying that to any game that has such great music and such great teams of people that have been behind the soundtrack I've listened to and loved up to this point. And it feels like this is just... I don't know, it just feels like it doesn't quite fit. It doesn't fit the scale of what they're trying to do by making it an anthem. It doesn't feel like it's the sound that I expect out of PGR. Like, more electronic stuff could have been just like tossed in here, like kind of spices on the food. Like, the tone that I'm used to hearing from PGR isn't what this was, so my brain is finding it hard to figure out what I want from it, but also disappointed in what it could have been, but turned out it wasn't. And that really does suck a little bit because, like I said, not a bad song in general, but all the little things that I feel like could have been improved to make that scale bigger and make this entire song feel like much more of an impact just weren't done. And at every single one of those turns, you're taking just a mark off of what could have been a 5-star experience and now ends up being probably closer to a 2, which hurts. It hurts me to say that so much because I love their music. But this one just didn't hit the mark for me, unfortunately, and it's a bummer. But I'm also very aware that it's almost guaranteeably just because I don't play the games and therefore don't have that emotional tie. But also, like I said, other games have done that and done this and still made me feel that way. So I don't know what to give this one. A 2 out of 5 is probably the best I've got for it, unfortunately. Not bad, but it could have been so much better in my opinion. But I do think that's about all I got to say on this one, so thank you all so very much for watching. Sorry about the negativity on this reaction, but like I said, it happens sometimes, and you will never find me lying about my opinion, even if it is at kind of a conflict of interest. I still want to give you guys my true to form opinions, regardless how people may feel about it. I feel like it's more disingenuous just to lie to you and be like, I loved it when I didn't, you know? So hopefully you can at least respect that, even if you hate that I had a negative opinion of this song. But it's not like I'm your dad, so if you hate me for it, so be it. I can't tell you how to live your life, but I hope you enjoyed the video either way, and if you want to follow me and support me for more stuff in the future that hopefully I'll enjoy a little bit more, which is usually the case with PGR music, then you know how to follow me and support me and all that, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!